Right. Same mistakes. Should be up here. The Sri Raja Vacha should be up here. Anyway, and I want to apologize that Radrani's actually supposed to give class today, but last night she got sick. No, just like a cold or something, maybe. So she didn't want to get up. I don't think she's really sick, but I think she's going to be okay. It's not even cuatro gatos today. It's just not even cuatro gatos. It's tres gatos. 3 of us. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Yasoda Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana Sodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yasoda Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari
Gopijana Vallabha Girivardhari Gopijana Vallabha Girivardhari Jaya Gopijana Vallabha Girivardhari Yasodanandana Raja Janaranjana Yasodanandana Raja Janaranjana Yasodanandana Raja Janaranjana Sodanandana Raja Janaranjana Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Prabhupada Srila Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Srila Prabhupada 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Padmakacharya Satara Sada Shishi Mata's Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai ISKCON founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Anantakoti Vaishnavinda Ki Jai Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai Prem Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasati Gaur Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai Jai Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shai Mukunda Radha Kunda Giri Gaurana Ki Jai Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai Mayapur Navadip Dham Ki Jai Jagannath Puri Dham Ki Jai Grantharaj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Gaur Premanandi. All glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to Shishi, Guru and Gauranga Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. 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 So we're starting a new chapter today. It is the killing of the demon Naraka, or Narakasura, or Bhaumasura. Got different names. And it's a very involved chapter. There's a lot of things happening. It's also, Lord Indra plays a big role in this chapter. I'm going to read the chapter summary, and then I'll read chapter 1, verse number 1. So the chapter summary is as follows. This chapter tells how Lord Krishna killed Narakasura, the son of the earth goddess, and married the thousands of maidens the demon had kidnapped. It also describes how the Lord stole the Parijata tree from heaven and how he behaved like an ordinary householder in each of his palaces. After Narakasura stole Lord Varuna's umbrella, Mother Aditi's earrings, and the playground of the demigods known as Mani Parvata, Indra went to Dwarka and described the demon's transgressions to Lord Krishna. Together with Queen Satyabhama, the Lord mounted his carrier Garuda and traveled to the capital of Narakasura's kingdom. On a field outside the city, he decapitated the demon Mura with his disc. Then he fought Mura's 7 sons and sent them all to the abode of death, after which Narakasura himself entered the battlefield on the back of an elephant. Naraka threw his Shakti lance at Sri Krishna, but the weapon proved ineffective, and the Lord cut the demon's entire army to pieces. Finally, with his sharp-edged disc, Krishna cut off Narakasura's head. The earth goddess, Prithivi, then approached Lord Krishna and gave him the various items Narakasura had stolen. She offered prayers to the Lord and presented Naraka's frightened son at Lord Krishna's lotus feet. After pacifying the demon's son, Krishna enters Narakasura's palace, where he found 16,100 young women. As soon as they caught sight of the Lord, they all decided to accept him as their husband. The Lord sent them to Dwarka along with a great quantity of treasure, and then went with Queen Satyabhama to the abode of Indra. A lot happens in this chapter. It's only 45 verses, but it's a lot of narration. There, he returned Aditi's earrings, and Indra and his wife Sachi Devi worshipped him. On Satyabhama's request, Lord Krishna uprooted the heavenly Parijata tree and put it on the back of Garuda. After defeating Indra and other demigods who opposed his taking of the tree, Krishna returned with Queen Satyabhama to Dwarka, where he planted it in the garden adjacent to Satyabhama's palace. Indra changes his moods rather quickly. He's worshiping, then fighting. And these next 2 paragraphs describe that. Indra had originally come to Lord Krishna offering obeisances and begging him to kill Narakasura, but afterwards, when his business had been accomplished, he quarreled with the Lord. The demigods are prone to anger because they become intoxicated with pride in their opulences. The infallible Supreme Lord manifests himself in 16,100 separate forms and married each of the 16,100 brides in a different temple. He took up the required activities of household life just like an ordinary person, accepting various kinds of service from each of his many wives. Of course, not ordinary when you can do this 16,108 times. Okay, beginning with text number 1. This is Canto 10, Chapter 59, Text 1. Sri Rajo Vacha Yatahato Bhagavata Bhaumo Yene Chatastriya Niruda Etad Akchakshva Vikramam Sharngadanvana Sri Rajovacha Yatahato Bhagavata Bhaumo Yene Chatastriya Nirudha Etad Achakshva Vikramam Sharngadanvana Sri Rajovacha Yatahato Bhagavata Bhaumo Yene Chatastriya Niruda etad achakshva Vikramam Shanga Danvana. Nirajavacha Yatato Bhagavata Mama Yene Chatastriya Niruda Etad Achakshva Vikrama Shanga Danvana Shri Rajavacha Yatahato Bhagavata Bhamo Yene Chatastriya Niruda Etad Achakshva Vikrama Shanga Danvana Shri Rajavacha. The king Parikshit said, Yata, how? Hataha, killed. Bhagavata, by the Supreme Lord. Bhamaha, Narakasura, the son of Bhumi, the goddess of the earth. Yena, by whom? Cha, and. Ta, these. Striya, women. Nirudha, captured. Etat, this. Achakshva, please tell. Vikramam, adventure. Sharngadanvanaha, of Lord Krishna, the possessor of the bow Sharnga. Translation. King Parikshit said, how was Bhaumasura, who kidnapped so many women, killed by the Supreme Lord? Please narrate this adventure of Sri Sharngadanvas. Please repeat. Sri Parikshit said, how was Bhaumasura, who kidnapped so many women, killed by the Supreme Lord? Please narrate this adventure of Lord Sharngadanvas. So there's only short and very descriptive, they're just kind of summary tikas here. So I'm going to just read Sanatan Goswamis because they're all very much similar. How was Bhauma, who kept the women in his house, Nirudha, killed directly by the Lord, who appeared to destroy demons, Bhagavata? Narrate the astonishing story or the valor of the Lord. That was suitable since he held the Sharnga bow. Etad is, instead of etam, is poetic license, or it indicates the general followed by the particular. Om Agyana Timarantasya Gyanan Gyanan Shalakaya Shaksha Unmilitan Gyana Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swabadantikam Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pasdaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swamanitaramani Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pacharani Nirvasesa Shunyavadi Brashachadishtarni Vanchakalpatrubhyascha Kripasindhabheva Patitanam Pavanevyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Dvaita Gadadhar Shivasati Gaur Bhaktivinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So this chapter narrates two basically, well, there's so many things happen. The first thing that happens, and it's an interesting story, because Narakasura or Bhamasura, he's described as, and it's correctly described as, the son of the Mother Earth, Prithivi. But what's not being mentioned here, in either the summary or in the short descriptions by the Acharyas, is that he's also the son of Krishna. Because when Krishna, in the form of Varahadev, saved Mother Earth from the nether regions by lifting her up with his tusk, pierced her with his tusk, and in this way impregnated her, and she gave birth to a son named Bauma, Bhumi Bauma. This is directly gives a connection between Bhamasura and Bhumi. Now, Bauma didn't become a Sura just because, I mean, why would Bauma become an Asura? Maharaj spoke to this yesterday when he said that he had bad association, and I have to admit that unfortunately I had very short notice on the class today, so I didn't get a chance to look up all the stories about his bad association. But needless to say, through the association of demons, he became demoniac. And as a demoniac personality, the Lord was bound to kill him even though he was his son. Because the Lord doesn't play favorites. The Lord does what he's supposed to do. Paritranaya sadhunam vinaschayastra duskritam. He's protecting the devotees, which involves killing demons. In the case of Bhamasura, he was causing a lot of problems, like stealing from the demigods and imprisoning 16,100 princesses in his palace, and of course, being the nefarious person he is, he was not just keeping them there to look pretty. He was a demon. So this is a personality that needed to be eliminated. And he needed to leave, and it's interesting because Krishna plays this role. He knows everything that's going on, or he can know everything that's going on because he's the Supreme Lord. But in the throes of his pastimes, it appears that he's interacting with everyone else in a sort of ignorance of what's going on. So he's apparently not aware of what's going on, really, until Indra shows up and says, you know, I've got a problem. Indra's always showing up with problems, representing the demigods. We've got a problem, and it's your son, Narakasura, Bhamasura, and he's stolen various items from heaven, and we need to get him back, and we can't get him back because he's too powerful. So what did he steal? He stole Lord Varuna's umbrella, Mother Aditi's earrings, and the playground of the demigods known as Mani Parvata. Now, Indra is especially interested in getting his mother's earrings back, because he's in a family, and his mother's got earrings, and they were stolen, and she's probably telling him, what are you going to do about those earrings that have been stolen by Narakasura? And Indra, being impotent to stand up to Narakasura, goes to his go-to person, which is Krishna. I got a problem, I go to Krishna. So he goes to Krishna, and Krishna agrees to take care of Bhamasura and retrieve the earrings and Varuna's umbrella and the playground of the demigods, all three things. That's very nice. Indra's happy about that. But Indra, as it said later, he becomes very disturbed. Why? Because, well, you did what I wanted. And even Krishna goes and returns everything, and Indra and his wife Sachi, they're praying to the Lord, bowing down. It seems to be a very nice gesture. It's a nice gesture until Krishna says, by the way, I'm also going to take the parijata tree. And then things change on a dime. And Indra just flips out. And he's angry because, well, yeah, you did what I wanted, but you're not going to take the tree because I like the tree, and this is for me. I mean, I have a deal with you. I act in a way and to serve you as the king of the devas and also providing rain, etc. But that's as far as it goes. It's as it says here, it is a business deal. Indra had originally come to offer Lord Krishna had originally come to Lord Krishna offering obeisances and begging him to kill Narakasura, but afterwards, when his business had been accomplished, he quarreled with the Lord. The demigods are prone to anger because they become intoxicated with pride in their opulences. They've got so much stuff, they're so well off that they become bewildered by these opulences. Bhogaishvara prashaktanam taya prita chetasam. That persons who are full of opulences, they become bewildered by these opulences, and then the resolute determination to act as a pure devotee doesn't occur. They can act as a mixed devotee as long as, I'm willing to cooperate as long as I get my cut of the deal or my side of the bargain. This is better than atheism. I mean, it's better than a demon. When the demigods get chastised, they pay obeisances and then, apologize, and that's what Indra does over and over again. And a demon just has to have his head lopped off because he's not going to apologize. He has no interest in apologizing. He's got no interest in serving. He doesn't think that he's going to work with Krishna for his own benefit, but he's going to work against Krishna. And so, modern civilization is actually based on this principle. Western civilization, which is proud of providing so much in the way of conveniences for the world, and going back into the 19th century, we can say, so many great developments have come. Electricity was harnessed into telephones and electric lighting and into phonographs, radios, TVs. Communications were that way super fast, and then, of course, into the digital age. And then we have cars and planes and trains and all these different things, and they all run on this great stuff called oil, which we only really started using about 160 years ago. And so we brought the whole world this demoniac mentality. Just use things up. Oh, there's God there. He gave this stuff for us to use, and that's great. But now, this great civilization, which is based on rebelling against God's authority, is coming up to the fact that it's actually polluted everything, destroyed so much of the environment, that guess what? We're living in a world which we've created, and it's like hell. So we see this demoniac mentality playing out. And Prabhupada, it's interesting when we read Prabhupada's purports and listen to Prabhupada's classes, 50 odd years ago. And Prabhupada is extremely heavy. So much heavy that back in the 70s we might be thinking, wow, this is really heavy. It's like maybe even an exaggeration. But it was no exaggeration. Prabhupada was talking about how this demonic civilization was going to destroy itself, and he's proving to be prescient. And in other words, because he's a pure devotee of the Lord, he could see directly the demoniac effects of acting in ways totally contrary to how we should be acting. What did he be saying over and over again in his classes? That the purpose of human life is to understand our predicament here in this material world, suffering as we are, birth, death, old age, and disease. We can't do that like the dog. Oh, like the dog, that picture of the dog last night, Maharaj, was classic. The dog who almost looked like a person. If we lead dog-like lives, we don't figure anything out. We just try to eat, sleep, mate, and defend in fancy ways and in sophisticated ways, but we don't actually understand the purpose of human life. And the purpose of human life isn't, as Prabhupada would say, to work hard like the dogs and hogs, who are simply engaging in how to, better their propensities for animal enjoyment. So that's not the purpose of life, and if we simply try to make the animal enjoyment more and more sophisticated, it requires us to manipulate material energy in more and more sophisticated and dangerous ways against the will of the Lord. This was an article I read by someone who's certainly not a devotee, but he spoke about the misuse of petroleum, saying that, like drug addicts, we simply started misusing this resource, which he said, and he's a materialist, could have been used in a reasonable way, slowly, bit by bit, over a long period of time without the deleterious effects of just using it all up at once, practically. Imagine how much petroleum was wasted in World War II bombing each other. Planes from both sides bombing each other's territory. Just total waste. So this waste of God's energy is being done. It's like the demons. The demons are classic examples. They get some material power, we see like Ravana or Hiranyakashipu or Narakasura, and then they just waste it on doing horrible ugra karmic activity, horrible work, and to the point where the Lord has to simply finish them off. So in this case, the Lord finishes off Bhaumasura because he needs to be finished off because of his sinful activities. And this will also lead into some pastimes where the Lord exhibits, everything's done by Krishna in ways that he does uncountable things with one or two activities. Because the marrying of these 16,100 wives means it puts him into a category of having 16,001. It's one thing if you have 8 wives. Maybe even 108 wives. But 16,108 wives puts one into another category. It should be noted that when Shukadeva Goswami talks about King Chitraketu's 10 million wives, it should be noted that when he said 10 million wives, it's just like saying he had so many wives you couldn't count them. It wasn't like he had as many wives as the population of North Carolina. But he had a whole bunch. We couldn't count them all. But Krishna actually had 16,108 wives. And so this then becomes a whole other instruction to us about the glory of God. Actually, when I was a brand new devotee, like about 4 days on the Radha Damodar bus, and Tamal Krishna Maharaj was, he was reading Krishna book or something, and we came to this passage where Krishna had 16,108 wives. And I had read this before, because I had a Krishna book, but I never really could get my head around it. And I guess I must have made some kind of face or something, and he looked at me and said, "You don't believe it?" said he could have 16 million wives. He's God. And so it's true. It may be impossible for the materialistic consciousness to actually try to reach to that. But Krishna uses this as a teaching activity, because later on in another chapter 69 or someplace in the 60s of this canto, Narada Muni will visit Krishna in all his 16,108 palaces, and in each one he is engaging in totally different, I can't even think of 16,108 different things to do at any given moment. But somehow or other, he was doing 16,108 different things at a moment. And then later on, when he leaves his 16,108 palaces, he merges into one Krishna and goes to the assembly house, and then meets with everyone as the prince of Dwarka, or the king of Dwarka, but he's not really the king because Krishna, defers to Ugrasena. But he's king because he's God. So we have this situation here that is instructive for us. And it is also instructive because we can bring this back to some verses in the Bhagavad Gita, 18th chapter. The Bhagavad Gita has everything in it, really does. The Bhagavatam will expand on Bhagavad Gita in a way in which we can have wonderful narrations. Bhagavad Gita is spare. It's only 700 verses, and it's it's short. But within those short 700 verses, Krishna manages to say everything that one needs to know about Krishna consciousness. So in the 18th chapter, verses 26, 27, and 28, it refers to duty performed in different modes. And it's important for us to understand the difference between the duty of a pure devotee, a mixed devotee, or a materialist, and then how a demon does it. Because the three levels are there. We have these young princesses who become actually pure devotees, and they do so because out of despair. It really is. They are completely been ruined by this demon. But yet, that means they can surrender, rather than Indra, who's got everything going for him, and he won't surrender, although he will admit that God is there. So I'll just read the English translations because we're getting towards the end of the class. But the first one is 26. One who performs his duty without association with the modes of material nature, without false ego, with great determination and enthusiasm, and without wavering in success or failure, is said to be a worker in the mode of goodness. Or, it could be Sudasattva too, mode of pure goodness, because it's without the association of the modes of nature. Think of Srila Prabhupada here. One who performs his duty without the association of the modes of material nature, without false ego, with great determination and enthusiasm, without wavering in success or failure. Prabhupada had so much failure, so much difficulties, so many things placed before him that many other people have just given up. And then Prabhupada writes in the purport, a person in Krishna consciousness is always transcendental to the material modes of nature. He has no expectations for the result of the work entrusted to him because he is above false ego and pride. Then he goes on to say he's still enthusiastic. He's always enthusiastic. He doesn't care about success or failure. He's equal in both happiness and distress. This is a devotee, pure devotee, ultimately. Now, let's move on to the category of someone like Indra. The worker who is attached to work and the fruits of work, desiring to enjoy those fruits, and who is greedy, always envious, impure, moved by joy and sorrow, is said to be in the mode of passion. And this is the materialistic idea. Like when Indra doesn't get his sacrifice for Govardhan, he just has a temper tantrum, flips out, and starts trying to kill everybody. This is a person who's desiring to enjoy the fruits. He's greedy. He's always envious. And then when he doesn't get what he wants, he just flips out. A person is too much, Prabhupada writes, a person is too much attached to a certain kind of work or to the result because he has too much attachment for materialism or hearth and home, wife and children. Such a person has no desire for higher elevation in life. Indra doesn't want anything more than he's got. He just wants to keep what he has. That's why he, when Prithu starts doing all the horse sacrifices and he's about ready to do 100, Indra says, well, he can't do 100. If he does 100, he might take my place. So then he goes through all these contortions of stealing the last horse, and ruining Dharma in the process. And finally, Brahma has to come down and just tell Prithu, okay, don't worry about it. Indra's just going to, he can't have you do 100. So this is Indra. I'm going to do some good things, but, there's a lot of conditions. And if I don't get these conditions met, I'm going to have a bad day. And therefore, Prabhupada said this is an unclean consciousness. And it's based upon what I get out of it. Ultimately, devotional service can't be with him. What's in it for me? In the beginning, yes. Maybe I get some freedom of distress. Maybe get some monetary success. Maybe my questions are answered about the purpose of life. A lot of us came that way. I've got so many questions. And I did. I had a lot of questions, but I never knew what the real answers were until I met Prabhupada. Because before that, I was just floating around in the void. And the last one is the demon. The worker who is always engaged in work against the injunction of the scripture, who is materialistic, obstinate, cheating, and expert in insulting others, who is lazy, always morose and procrastinating, is said to be a worker in the mode of ignorance. So this is demoniac. Now, it must be said that in order for a big demon like Hiranyakashipu or Ravana, they couldn't just be in the mode of ignorance because they wouldn't get anything done. They had to have enough passion to kind of spark the whole thing to get it going. Because when you hear this description, you're talking about a guy who just lays around drinking beer and watching TV. And he's not going to get anything. And maybe when he goes to work, he just customer service is not going to be his strong suit because he's expert in insulting others. So, maybe, he's just works as a mudha doing some kind of, materialistic work and has nothing other in life to do except enjoy his senses. So these are the three modes of work, and how we're going to see here the demigods sort of fill that passionate part. Even though they're in the mode of goodness, they're really, Indra is a classic example of someone who only will do what he does that's good if it's like a contract he has with Krishna. Well, actually that's interesting, because in Christianity, there's a whole idea of a covenant. It's sort of a contract. In fact, when I grew up, I went to a church called the Church of the Covenant. And the covenant is basically, it really is, goes back to the Old Testament. Follow my rules and I'll take care of you. And if you don't follow my rules, you're going to be smoted by my fire. That's not pure devotion. And if a religion grows up into that mood, except for some saints who get the real purpose, everybody else is just doing things like Indra. Do it for me. Do what I need, and I'll do what you need. Thank you very much.
Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Mainam Kanvandam Aravindadalayataksham Varhavatam Samasitam Buddhasundarangam Kandar Akom Vikamaniya Vishesha Shobham Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Angani Yasa Sakalem Priya Priti Manti Vasyanti Panti Kayanti Jiram Naganti Ananda Chinmaya Sadhu Jala Vigrahasya Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam
Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam. Namago Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Samanichi Namande Namaste, hey, Saraswati Devi, Gauravani Vaja, Neke, Nivishesha, Shunyavadi, Asyachagade, Zatanane. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Sivasati Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Dwaita, Radha Shiva Sati, go back to Vrinda. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Ramanitya Dano Sri Advaita Radha Shiva Sati Gaurata Vrinda Shri Krishna Chaitanya Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Jaya Goloka, Radha Goloka, Hey, Radhe, Radhe, Hey, Radhe, Radhe, Jaya Radhe, Jaya Shri, Hey, Jai Om Vishnu Pad. All the tenors of the Shri, Abhaya.
God. 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 God.
Shimali Halas.
God. God. Hari Bol.
All glories to the assembled ones.
Hare
All glories to the assembled ones.
Hare Krishna.
All glories to the assembled
Hare
ones.
Krishna. God.
Chaitodarbana marjanam bhavamahadavagni nirvapanam Shreya Kairavya Chandrikavitaranam Ninjavadu Jivanam Anandam Buddhi Vardhanam Pratimanam Purnamrita Swadanam Sarvatma Snapanam Param Vijayate Shri Krishna Sankirtanam Nam Namakari Bahuda Nija Sarva Shaktis Tatrapita Niyamita Smaranena Kala Etadrishita Vakripa Bhagavan Mamapi Durdaiva Midrishami Hajjanina Nuraga Trinadapi Sunichena Charorapi Suhishuna Amani Namana Dena Kirtaniya Sadahari Nadanam Najanam Nasundarim Kavitam Vajagadisha Kamae Mama Janmani Janmani Ishvare Bhavatad Bhaktir Haitaki Twai Vainanda Tanuja Kinkaram Bhatitam Mam Vishame Bhavam Buddha Kribayata Vapada Pankaja Stita Duli Sajashim Vachintaya Nayanam Gadarashu Daraya Varanam Gad Gadurudaya Gira Pulakarnishitam Vabhukada Tavanama Grahane Babishyati Yugayatam Namishena Chakshusha Prabhashayatam Shunayatam Jagat Sarvam Govindam Virahename Ashlishyavapadamritam panastumam adarshanam marmahata karotuva yatatava vidadatu lampato mat prananatastu sa eva napara. Victory to the Sri Krishna Sankirtan, which cleanses the heart of all the dust accumulated for years and extinguishes the fire of conditional life, of repeated birth and death. This Sankirtan movement is the prime benediction for humanity at large because it spreads the rays of the benediction moon. It is the life of all transcendental knowledge. It increases the ocean of transcendental bliss, and it enables us to fully taste the nectar for which we are always anxious. Oh, my Lord, congregational chanting of your holy name alone can render all benediction to living beings, and thus you have hundreds and millions of names like Krishna and Govinda. In these transcendental names, you have invested all your transcendental energies. There are not even hard and fast rules for chanting these names. Oh, my Lord, out of kindness, you enable us to easily approach you by your holy names, but I am so unfortunate that I have no attraction for them. One should chant the holy name of the Lord in a humble state of mind, thinking oneself lower than the straw in the street. One should be more tolerant than a tree, devoid of all sense of false prestige, and should be ready to offer all respect to others. In such a state of mind, one can chant the holy name of the Lord constantly. O Almighty Lord, I have no desire to accumulate wealth, nor do I desire beautiful women, nor do I want any number of followers. I only want your causeless devotional service birth after birth. O Son of Maharaj Nanda Krishna, I am your eternal servitor, yet somehow or other I have fallen into the ocean of birth and death. Please pick me up from the ocean of death and place me as one of the atoms at your lotus feet. Oh, my Lord, when will my eyes be decorated with tears of love flowing constantly when I chant your holy name? When will my voice choke up, and when will the hairs of my body stand on end at the recitation of your name? Oh, Govinda, feeling your separation, I am considering a moment to be like 12 years or more. Tears are flowing from my eyes like torrents of rain, and I am feeling all vacant in the world in your absence. I know no one but Krishna as my Lord, and he shall remain so, even if he handles me roughly by his embrace and makes me broken-hearted by not being present before me. He is completely free to look at anything and everything, for he's always my worshipful Lord unconditionally.